in 2 seconds. We should be good. Just confirm. I believe we are live. I'm just going to confirm on the.
Fuck yeah.
Make sure this is public. It is public. And then I'll just check on the site. Should be good.
We need a cool background.
Yeah.
You know, like those 11 a.m. guys got that like. It's fucking cool. We need one.
Let's all order green screens off Amazon, and then the world is our oyster after that.
I'll fucking do it.
Right?
C-Club has a great it's either like an intro or an outro sound that they use for some of their videos. It sounds so like AOL dial-up, like welcome to the World Wide Web. I don't know. I gotta dig it up because I like watched their little teaser trailer a while back, and then I just kept like scrubbing back 10 seconds and like listening to the outro over and over again. It was that good.
I'll have to listen to that. I haven't heard that. I've only hopped in like during, like in the middle of an episode.
I'm gonna see if I can find it.
That'd be sick to get a signature higher zip tone, like sound. That'd be sick.
It was before they went all in on the 11 a.m. stuff. I'm seeing that branding just everywhere right now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. We could run that as a mission.
How is it? Still some comments.
It's awesome.
It is cool.
Wait, and when you move it fast, it turns green.
The hover just
Oh shit. Oh shit.
it's the next level one. You know, doubling down on the circle, you know.
Love it.
Steve Jobs over here.
It's funny you say that because I have been reading a lot of Steve Jobs recently. So I'm like, oh shit, is it really seeping in here? I'm not going to claim though. That's crazy. That's just crazy shit.
I'll say it. Steve Jobs.
Walt Disney?
Michael Jordan. Okay.
What does the top left button do on it?
It's the mute.
Oh, got it. Is it supposed to be like a plus and a circle?
Yeah, basically. I was trying to find because mute and unmute, the word unmute was like too long for the container. So I was looking for like another signal that kind of goes back to like what we were originally trying with the clicker, which is like some buttons don't even make sense to a certain extent.
Yeah.
Again, we could change it, but that's what I got. That's what I got to.
Massive upgrade, bro. That is so sick. I haven't tried it on mobile yet, but like it's gorgeous and fun.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, it's
Job.
super fun. While I was testing it, also there was like there's a few things actually that I want to tell you guys about it. Right. So when I was testing it, one of the so the button was going to be static, just like in a specific where the existing clicker, where the previous clicker was. It was just going to be in that same spot, basically. But then on mobile screens, that kind of presented an issue because then the button would always be in front of the television, essentially. So then after that is when I decided to do the like dragability of it. And then that kind of opened up a little bit more of like creative freedom there because there's a few different things where I could like drag it and then it would snap back to the original spot, which was like one way that I kind of tried to integrate it. Um, and then the other one being like the ability for that position to persist. So if you drag it and you drag it to another place, it stores it to your local storage. So if you refresh the page, when you refresh it, it'll be in the same place where you left it previously.
Mm.
So there's that aspect about it. And on mobile specifically, there's one aspect where if you don't touch it for, I think I have it set at like 15 seconds, then it goes back to the original position. And the reason I did that is because once I started dragging it around, I noticed one little side effect that maybe is not a side effect at all, which is when I first made it draggable, I was able to kind of just like launch it off the screen. Like it just like went into infinity basically. And I was like, okay, well that could be a problem then, because then you'll never get it back and it'll be stored in local storage, so it'll just stay there forever.
Oh, like you can like drag it and fling it.
And
type
just
of thing?
fling it, yeah. Yeah, and I was like, although the flinging action in and of itself was cool looking to be like, yeah, let me just launch the clicker, but like then you lose literally all the functionality of it. So, um,
Mm.
with that, I did add a little bit of stickiness to it, so you're not able to like launch it as easily. But that's where the feature of the mobile feature, where like you wait 15 seconds and it'll just return to that home position.
Hmm.
And then for some reason at that moment, I was like, I need to add one more thing to this. And that one thing is a keyboard shortcut. So if you hit a button
Mm.
on your keyboard, it returns back to that home position, and that button is H. So if you hit H on the keyboard, it'll go back to the home area.
That's cool.
Easter egg city, baby.
Little,
I
yeah.
love it.
Which is like kind of low key. That was my favorite feature of it, is the H.
The H is huge. I love the way it like bounces in.
Yeah, that's all Framer motion. They kind of they make it really easy to do like motion graphics, honestly. So, uh, it's literally just like stiffness and dampness and like what kind of style do I want that to look to be. There's like, bro, Framer motion is pretty dope. They have so many like baked in. Obviously they have like the normal motion graphic stuff like easy easy ease in, ease out,
Mhm.
but they have so many other, I guess, modes that you can kind of. They have springs. They have, yeah. It's like they have infinite names for it, but there's a lot of them.
When you first said like flinging it off the screen, I was one. I don't think it's a good idea, but it made me think if it like bounced off the walls,
That'd be
like
sick.
probably not worth it, and actually probably annoying, but hilarious.
It would be fun, honestly. I thought about that too, but I was already like a few hours in, so I was like, I don't want to. But
could just
we
do
could
like
totally do that in the future, though. Like, I think that's definitely something that would be dope to add.
That'd be interesting to do like a loading screen where like instead of that DVD bouncing, you could actually control that bouncing motion, and then when the stream comes on, the clicker goes back to the home position or something. I don't know. That's maybe
Oh
way too
yeah,
complex, but
that would be sick. Honestly, I like that a lot. Like that actual, like the actual clicker be bouncing,
mm-hmm.
and then at some point it just goes back to being static.
Stream starts and it's like you to the home spot.
That's pretty dope.
That's fun.
You mentioned it made you think about like chat features. I know I was interested in what you were thinking of.
Yeah, well, I mean, automatically, I'm just like, okay, well, the chat box should be draggable also at this point. Um, so that's the kind of the first and foremost thing I thought about. Um, and I don't know what the dialogue box would like actually look like design wise, but having the ability to drag it around, I feel like would make a lot more sense. And adding a button to the clicker isn't hard either. So I feel like on default, the chat doesn't even appear. And then when you click the clicker, one of the four buttons, it'll be a fifth button and it'll just say chat.
Mm-hmm.
And then that will open up the chat window. Um, And
I love
honestly,
that.
I don't want to like hog too much of the call up with
You're good.
talk about chat, but that's a whole
Please.
other conversation that I kind of want to have. Is like, what do we want? What is the V1 of chat when we release it? If that is even up next.
Should we just segue into that? I think, well, Genuine Jack mentioned that last week because he was texting us. He was like, please, can we get a chat so I don't have to text you guys? I think that would be an awesome feature to kind of push on now, if possible. I know,
Yeah.
we talked about trenches, but I don't know if there's any overlap there.
I mean, yeah, to the extent that like I want there to be like a place to chat about tokens, and originally it was like login with Nanar, which is like a Farcaster login system that like generates a signer, which basically means it can write to the Farcaster protocol, so it can cast, it can react, it can share things. That step makes it pretty gnarly, just because I don't know if you've tried like logging in, but it'll like get a pop up and then hop over to Farcaster, and then maybe it'll work or maybe it won't, and then pop back, and then maybe you're logged in, maybe you're not. It's like it doesn't all happen in one place. So I'm thinking of gutting that and making it just like sign in with wallet, because we already have your wallet connected to the HZip site. And so maybe just like sign a message and boom, you're authenticated. We won't be able to write to Farcaster, but
That's okay.
I think it's better to have people talking than people not talking behind like a solution that is not accessible, So yeah, I mean, that might, like if I do that, I think it should be pretty straightforward, because then there's no pop outs, there's no swapping between apps, there's none of that. It's just chat box and sign message and you're in. So we could experiment with that for next week, trying to do a quick spike and see if chat in there makes sense.
That'd be interesting. I think it's worth exploring. I mean, for the trenches concept, trenches itself always seemed like a better use case specifically for mini app to me, as opposed to like a separate site. But that's just me. I don't know. I thought that you were pushing it more so for mini app as opposed to
like chat embeddable in mini apps, or chat in one mini app.
Chat. And I thought trenches was just going to be a mini app, and it was the chat.
Yeah. That's kind of like, I push people to the website because the login from the mini app was so bad. I didn't want that to be the case, but like, honestly, the login from anywhere is bad, but it is the worst in the mini app because you're in Farcaster and it's trying to trigger some action in Farcaster and you're kind of going back. It's really bad.
A weird loop.
Yeah, it's a very weird loop. It kicks you out to a browser, and then it's just, it doesn't make any sense. But yeah, I can do a quick spike on just gutting that, and I'm really sad about that actually, because like it took a lot of work to get like Farcaster protocol stuff into it.
Yeah.
Only to see that it's so inaccessible. But I still believe in the concept strongly. So let me try and see if I can just do like wallet sign in, and then otherwise everything's the same. It's just like chat messages, balances, and then we can make tweaks based on like what we want for HZip, like if we want customizations or things like that. I know John mentioned, for instance, like rewarding everyone who's active in chat,
Right.
or something like along that vein. Like we can talk features there once we get the core thing working.
So is there no way to just, because I know the site now has already a wallet login thing. So for the chat feature they would have to log in again, or did I misunderstand that?
So there's Connect Wallet, which is like there's no actual authentication that happens there. You can kind of like spoof that if you wanted to. Actually getting them to sign a message to say like, hey, I want to access chat or something like that, then is something that is verifiable, so that when they send messages, we know that, oh, this is from, chamakito.eth, sending this message. So that's kind of the idea there.
And the site has that already right now, or no? You're saying
It doesn't. It
Okay.
doesn't. The site doesn't do auth. It just reads whatever wallet you tell it you have.
But people are able to donate though.
Yeah, you are able to donate, but that's not telling the site as much as it is telling the blockchain, right? That's like sending a transaction on chain.
Gotcha.
Whereas like the site doesn't have any like session storage of like who you are.
I see. Okay. And that's what you recommend. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, go on. I was just gonna ask, do we lose like the forecaster connecting who's sending a message? So in this previous iteration of trenches, you'd know that it was like I don't know, whoever's account it was, because they logged in through forecaster. Whereas in this scenario, we'd lose that.
We can crawl our way back to that identity. Yeah, so it should be possible to retain that information.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's cool. Because that would be great if we could retain that. I think that's kind of big.
Yeah, because you know how you can like link an address to your profile on Farcaster? So it's like one step to just like, all right, see what's the address associated with this, or what's the account associated with this address.
Yeah, so I'd log in with Rainbow or whatever, and that wallet would need to be verified to my Farcaster, which it is, and it would pull that. Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So then in terms of the flow of what a user might experience, it's like maybe they click the clicker and then it says chat, and then when that chat window pops up, we're asking them to log in essentially to have the session.
Yeah, I imagine that it's like you can see the chat
Right.
and the comments happening and there's an input, but then as soon as you hit like send, it's like
Right.
log in.
Okay, boom. That's dope. Okay, nice. That's so cool.
If it works, let's see. I'll give it a quick run this week and report back any findings.
Cool.
But it should, in theory. So
That is kind of exciting, man. Damn, chat would be sick. The other thing I've been doing a little kind of reading on chat systems across the board, just because I was like, what is it gonna take? I've never built one before, so I'm like, what exactly is it, right? Like, what is like, is there permanence in the chat in the chats that are being sent? Where is that stored? Like, who's keeping that data? And there's kind of like seems like it's databases, right? Like literally it's like, or we choose not to, or we choose to delete the data after the data, after a certain amount of time. And then going down that rabbit hole brought me to the like Figma style, where like you can see other people's cursors and things like that. And there is kind of like I guess like a package or something, or a service called LiveBlocks that seems to specialize in or create kind of like the interaction layer on sites like Figma. I know that there's another one called Miro that does something similar too when you're like whiteboarding stuff.
Yeah, it's all like powered by WebSockets under the hood too.
Gotcha.
So it's like normal. I don't know if you guys want to kind of go down like a little
Yes.
sidetrack, but it's like normally in like the internet web requests, your browser or whatever, it's like request response, right? So you say like, give me info about Colfax to, facebook.com, and then it responds with like, here's like a set of data corresponding to him. and the request has ended. There's overhead in like initiating a request. And so what WebSockets are, it's like kind of like an always on connection. It's like an always existing pipe between you and the server. And it's like data is just like flowing back and forth between them. And so for chat and for like some of the stuff that Brian's talking about, where it's like sort of real-time data streaming between things, WebSockets are like one of the tools that like make it so that you're not just like spamming servers with requests. It's just connections. And then there's other things too for like video. There's like WebRTC and stuff like that, like more complex protocols. But yeah.
Is it insane to approach, well, outside of the login, sign in rigmarole? Is it insane to think of the chat being stored via the Farcaster protocol?
We could. The only thing is, without your Farcaster login, we would just write it all from one account. It would just be like one account posting everything.
Is there a reason to do that, or is that just a waste?
If we want people on Farcaster to see what looks like someone talking to themselves, I'm just imagining like a giant thread of like a person replying to themselves, and it's
I don't mean for like an account to be posting the chat, but more so an account to have all that data stored.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. I like this idea. Sounds cool for like highlighting messages. You know, I don't know how much as a follower of the account I would want to just get, you know, chats like that on my feed. But if there's like a chat that like essentially has like a marketing component that it's like, oh, this makes me want to tune into HIGHER.ZIP, then I do see the use of that. Like almost like an overheard New York account where it's like overheard on HIGHER.ZIP. And like if there was a way for us and or producers of future shows to like hit a button and that automatically sends out a cast of like the last 4 interaction, or you know, something like that like shows like, oh, this was said in HIGHER.ZIP while so and so was streaming.
That's super cool. Yeah, like default no, but it's like we kind of clip the chat.
Exactly.
And send it.
Yeah.
That's
that could be
cool.
cool. But in terms, I mean, just to go off of your question though, Colfax, is like, do we want, was your question more about like, if a user sends a chat in, does it automatically like send it as a cast also as Farcast? Is that what you were kind of thinking, or?
No, I was just more wondering about storage and if it's smarter and or beneficial to approach it from the protocol level via Farcaster, or if the database, right? I didn't know if there was, what are the pros and cons, right? Is there something down the road where, like you mentioned, John, about rewarding chatters, like is it better for that to be stored at the protocol level on Farcaster or in a database through the always on pipeline?
Yeah, do we want that? Do we want to store maybe not the contents of a message, but the fact that someone sent a message, like on an ongoing basis? Do we want to track that?
It would be cool to have like analytics at the very least.
Yeah, it's not a no. It's not a no for sure.
I agree. It's not a hard no for me, actually. That seems pretty cool.
It seems like it could be useful down the road, and I don't know for what, but I don't. It's one of those where I'm gonna look back and be like, damn, I wish we would have known.
Yeah.
You know, but if it's a huge lift and or extremely expensive, you know, we can obviously have that conversation if it's actually worth it.
Well, what data? Do we just want date, time, and person?
Probably.
contents don't matter that much, like what was actually said in the message?
I mean,
Character count?
I
Maybe
think
maybe
ideally
is that
it'd be all of it.
all of it. I feel like we probably want all of it, and then we do like roll ups on the data, you know. Yeah, yeah. Because right now it's like I think it stores like the last like 1,000 messages, and then like once the 1,001 comes in, it just kicks out the oldest one. It's like there's not even a database. There's no database with trenches right now. It's just like the last 1,000 on the file system that the server's running on, and yeah. So we gotta. That would be a interesting like let's figure out. I think it probably makes sense to just stream all the messages into a database somewhere, and then we can do stuff with it, like who said what when, and then take actions on it.
cool. That
Yeah,
sounds cool.
Probably
yeah.
clear it like once every, maybe a week's too often, but like every couple of weeks or something, probably start again. I imagine it gets expensive at the time to store more stuff.
Yeah, do you think people get weird about that, the storage of what they said?
They might speak less freely,
Mm,
you know.
interesting.
Yeah,
Maybe
just
that's
wondering.
I guess one of the things to communicate is like, why would we store what they're saying? And kind of one of the reasons we're storing it is so that we can kind of reward people who are active at the time. So kind of the most important information is that you were there, you were saying something that was like, I don't know. I'm not sure how exactly we would measure what is relevant, what's spam.
AI, I would say.
We expect farmers to come along and try it. Like, why not? But it's a nice challenge to have if we get there.
Yeah. Yeah, because then someone could just spam emojis and that would register at on the same significance level as someone who's like actually typing something somewhat meaningful.
And what if it's a meaningful emoji, Brian?
Sometimes
What if
you
it's
want to reward
200
emoji
times?
stuff.
I'd be in the chat spamming emojis. You know that.
Yeah.
No, I would be.
But I think on our side, in terms of like analyzing that data, we could reward someone for using the emojis, but that reward would be different for someone who like asks a dope question or so. I don't know, something other. We just reward them differently. I'm not saying one is like 0 awards, but yeah.
Yeah.
I was imagining before this like as you like hover over a particular message, and then you like I was imagining for the account thing where you could hover over a particular message and then like click a button, and then you'd pay some kind of nominal fee that would go to the pool, and then it would post that particular message to the account. Kind of like a super run-on kind of vibe where people are paying to post to a particular account from a chat. I imagine maybe it would be useful for kind of like the tipping things that Cam was already built to be able to target specific messages in real time if you're like in the chat itself, to be able to like reward or like, I don't know, even mark as like eligible for rewards. Maybe it creates a bit of a job for somebody. It's a good thing. But yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Mhm.
Pay to get distribution, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great idea, actually.
Love that. Yeah.
And that maybe falls in line with what we were talking about with the kind of comment section based on donations, like that, like a running list of people that have donated, and they get to make a comment with their donation. It's just a variation on that, which is cool. Because that stuff is fun, I think.
Yeah, I think so too.
Super fun, especially if they're like, man, I can't, like, I was chatting with my co-founder Matthew about this. It's like, if there is like somehow there's like money and there's like a chart, and it's like the money influences the chart, or it like, you know what I mean? Like if we had something on stream that was like going up and down somewhere, like especially if it's especially if it's like gamified somehow. I don't know, because I keep going back to Unlonely, and like I'm always like chasing that high again, and nobody's doing it as far as I'm aware. I guess Pump is doing it, but it's like it's just for the sake of number go up. It's not like because there's like you know, there's like a togetherness when there's like boundaries. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And everyone is kind of like trying to like tug of war to like a certain boundary with money.
It's a cognitive flex too. It's like, how can I outsmart everyone by working within the boundaries but still winning? You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that gamification is nice. I do like that a lot. I mean, there's live streamers who do that now with just like donation amounts. They'll put like the top 3 in there.
Mm-hmm.
And it does create, in some cases, in most cases, like, yeah, oh, I'm going to donate 55 because the highest is 54. I'm going to donate 57. And then, like, each one of those, they persist on the screen in the ranking order. So there's definitely, I mean, we're in crypto, baby. That should, you know,
Yeah. Yes. That's the whole stream right there.
Yeah.
You nailed it.
Yeah, that'd be.
Honestly, it's maybe a missed opportunity if we don't approach things like that, like we always talk about. You know, with the NFTs, it's like it's obvious we should do an on-chain receipt. It's like we're in crypto, we should do this. It makes sense, and that sort of gamification, whatever that manifests as, also makes total sense.
Yeah.
As long as it's fun, you know. If it's weird and forced, obviously let's not do it. But if we can make it fun in a way that, yeah, it's like tipping's fun on Farcaster. Degen was fun as hell on Farcaster. You know, we can spin up some sort of angle like that. And long story short, I guess maybe it does make sense to just have all that data stored for whatever that possibility is down the road.
Totally.
So then what's the next move on that? You have to see if it works, see if the hookup works.
Yeah, well, the first thing I want to try doing is swapping the auth to just like wallet signature. That should work. The next thing is like embedding it on the site and seeing like are there like cores issues, things like that. So everything in theory should work, right? It's just like there might be like roadblocks along the way. Yeah. And so, yeah.
Sick.
Cool. One thing that I maybe moves us into the next kind of area of conversation is, do we want to gate the chat? Because I can think of good reasons to gate the chat. And I can also think of good reasons not to gate the chat. I think that one thing, there's a good reason to gate the chat because farmers, and a good reason to gate the chat because farmers. So yeah, and then how do we get the chat? Do you want to get the chat based on token holdings, or do we want to get the chat based on receipt NFTs, or do we want to get the chat based on some other additional thing?
Well, that's why the Farcaster integration is so attractive, right? Because of the Nanar score. I feel like that solves. If that worked, it would solve most of the kind of spam issues, no?
We only attract spam as like if we're rewarding people, right?
Yeah.
So if we ship the first version and there's no incentives, it's just like come hang out.
Yeah.
I don't think that will suffer much sort of spam there. It's like, okay, you're tuning into HIGHER.ZIP. Like, what do you want to say? You know, like.
Right. Right. We probably will have like 2 people in the chat, you know, that are actually saying things. But I think with the long-term plan of doing something unique with the stream and the chat, I think rewarding is is definitely where we'll end up. So it may be not worthwhile to. It's worth thinking about. It is. I don't want to downplay that, but
Yeah, sorry, and I guess I don't mean to say like it's not worth thinking about. It's just more like part of me is like, okay, let's let's get to the
yes.
point where we can have that be a problem and then address it almost.
I think I agree with that.
But token gating, do you think
That
in
could
general,
be sick. Like you have to hone some, yeah.
not
like,
just for spam, like in general, yeah.
yeah.
I've been thinking about token gating in the last week, and like I don't know if you saw, I posted about like a staking. I shared in chat as well, actually, about a staking thing that changed which is basically token gating, but with like an additional layer of like intention, friction, and I think my broader thinking around that is that we could probably do token gating because we're like a niche kind of product anyway. I kind of at the moment doubt that people outside of our ecosystem, that like audio and higher come and do things. One of the things that I like about the idea of having something where you stake the token and get some NFT is that other businesses could use them. It kind of, I'm imagining it as something that different groups across the higher ecosystem could look for this NFT, and then you could kind of automatically say, oh yeah, this person's definitely aligned because they've staked their higher and they're risking like losing some of it in early fees if they leave early, basically. And I think that might be cool to do if as a gating thing for rewards at some point in time, potentially. If we start doing rewards, it might be a nice thing to do to reward high holders who are also into the longer term.
With the broader idea there, right, being tackling the question of what is the token for?
Yeah, so it basically in my mind, it turns token from purely speculative kind of thing into like, this is now my access pass to kind of a network membership. It's kind of, yeah, I think NFTs are awesome ways to do that. I think like a lot of DAOs went in that direction to begin with, and we're kind of blessed in a way where then there was that period of time where a lot of DAOs were thinking, oh shit, we should have launched a token and done it that way because they're more liquid and more people get involved at different levels. So we're kind of in a perfect spot to be able to be like, okay, we can now decide for ourselves how many tokens are worth an NFT. We could even build a system where we can change the number of tokens that are worth an NFT. A worth membership, we could have tiered memberships. Like if you hold X amount higher, that means this certain NFT from this certain contract. If you hold the next amount of higher, you need to trade in that previous NFT for a new NFT that's like specialer, and people can then filter what kind of holder you are based on holdings and the amount staked, whilst also allowing for a liquid market around that membership.
While you're, yeah, that makes total sense. While you're talking about that, do you want to mention kind of the broader structure that you were contemplating with the staking mechanics, duration, anything like that?
Yeah, so I was imagining that you kind of want to, at the beginning at least, I wouldn't want to stake and say you're definitely going to get something in staking other than this NFT if you reach like a minimum threshold. Because I think that's kind of that's how I want to frame it. It's like a network membership more than anything else. But then there has to be some kind of, and at the same time also I want people to be able to pull their money out. Like I want people to be able to exit if they need to. But at the same time, we want to incentivize that level of commitment. So then I came up with this kind of idea of decaying fees over time. So essentially, the longer you stake, the less you lose when you want to take funds out. And when you pay that fee to take funds out, the fees are distributed proportionally to everybody else who's staking. So if you decide to stake a lot because you're in it for a long term, you'll get more from the people who, quote unquote, capitulate or need to take money out earlier. So overall, the incentives are to stay in longer, and hopefully it's worth it because this NFT is going to give you access to things other businesses, other partners can kind of point towards NFT as like, okay, this is someone who's worth rewarding. They're alive. And there's also kind of stay in there longer and stake more because you'll get more of the stuff that is that's the first way I'm thinking about it. In terms of what the actual percentages are that pay a fee on, what the timings are, we'd have to wonder about that. Also about like the minimum threshold or the different tiers, like what should be the tiers. Ideally, we hope to be able to change the tiers, but then it changes less. It changes from being some kind of public infrastructure that we can stand up once and say, okay, if it's there, anybody can use it, we don't own it. Somebody has to manage, which is like, okay, if higher reaches 1 billion MCAP and you've set the 10,000 higher as like the lower band, then someone's going to have to pay $10,000 ship, which in a way is like, okay, maybe we just have to set up another contract that then pumps out membership, another NFT for just 50 higher or something. Maybe that's the solution. Yeah, all these things in my mind. Chat would be a nice place, or chat rewards would be a nice place to kind of say it's worth having one of these NFTs.
I definitely like the idea of staking, though. It's like it kind of, I don't know if you guys heard of, I mean, I'm sure you guys have heard of FWV, which one of the things I liked about, I guess, being a member for that is that you just had to have a certain amount of tokens to access the chat. Therefore, if at any moment I wanted to exit the community, all I had to do was sell the tokens essentially. And there were a lot of moments where like the financial upside was like, oh, should I resell just because I could get a lot of money for it? Not necessarily because I want to exit the community, but it was like, oh, damn, this is making me money being part of it. So staking and then adding the layer of like, I guess NFTs, I guess opens my mind up to like almost like membership levels, I guess you could say.
Yep, I think so. I think that's exactly where John's going, right?
Yeah.
Like, there would be levels, which is exciting. I think that's fun. And it being an NFT is cool too, because as opposed to, it's one more layer of dedication. It's like, because there are holders of Higher that don't participate in Higher and probably aren't even on Farcaster or Twitter as active members. So they wouldn't have this NFT because they may not know about it. So you'd have to actively engage now to receive that NFT to say, hey, I'm here, I see this shit and I'm down, as opposed to someone down the road launching something that it seems a little classist to be like, you to mint this HB you need 100K higher, but it's like all you need is one of these NFTs because it proves that you're staked, you're invested, even if it's just $10, as opposed to just rewarding this guy that has more higher than the rest of us. And NFTs fucking rock.
Hell yeah. Put that on a t-shirt. That's it.
One thing I forgot to mention is that these NFTs would be like they would be untradeable. So you'd stake and then you'd receive the NFT and you wouldn't be able to trade it because I have to say like easy exit. That perhaps talk about if you could list it somewhere. I mean, you can always wrap these things really good too, but wouldn't sell that service, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Which is great because then it doesn't become, a speculative asset that is cost prohibitive to anybody. Obviously if there's tiers, the higher tiers are cost prohibitive, but for that entry level one, it should just signal, hey, I have $10 and I give a fuck.
Right.
I think.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, I think the NFT part makes sense and is pretty straightforward to execute. I think that the staking rewards part is like a little bit more complicated. Um, you know,
The dispersing if you capitulate aspect.
the yeah, the capitulation aspect is the tricky part. Because like having there be penalties is like um it's tricky, right? Because people put money into a contract and then if they take it out and they get less, if they didn't know that they might get less, right? Then they're gonna be pissed. Or if they're just not aware, like that, and it's a very delicate situation. So like I was thinking about that in the context of like I'm working on like a yield contract thing that I think we talked about before, and I was like, you know, I read John's proposal and I was like, should we add that into like the core protocol? And from my perspective, what I realized is that if we add it in, it kind of creates, and like if we allow you to have like certain schedules, like after this time you get this much back, after this much, it kind of it makes it tough to open that service up as a protocol to the whole world, because then it's like we're letting anyone create stuff with custom schedules, and if you accidentally stake into the wrong one that has a shitty schedule and you can't get your money back, um, from my perspective, it was too risky to like bake it in as a core feature. I really like the idea, and maybe it's something that we do as like a bespoke, just like HZip thing, or whatever this initiative is called, if it's not HZip. But yeah, I really liked it, but I was like, oh, we got to exercise caution here, because people, yeah, could lose money that they don't expect to lose, right?
You mean like somebody's forking your contract and unaware that these measures are put in place, or maybe I'm not understanding fully.
I guess you could set it up and you like if it was anybody could make a contract that had like withdrawal penalty fees that were customizable, then you could make it like you only get 1% back if you withdraw in the first year, and anyone can make it for any token. Then someone makes it for ETH and it's like advertising it on Farcast has made a mini app, or it says, oh, APY is like a crazy stupid amount. Somebody clicks because they're already logged in the Farcast wallet and they realize that they're done. They either have to like wait out that time period, or lose 99% of whatever they staked because they made a mistake. But you guys don't want to. It'd be unfortunate for everyone involved, really.
Yeah, that's perfectly it. Like it's too easy to potentially lose all of your money if you're not paying careful attention. Like where, like, I call them pools in my head, like which pool you stake into, because they have different terms around them. So like, yeah, but I think for our case, if we want to do something like that, we can. I don't think it could be something that is like part of the thing that I was working on separately. But for the NFT aspect, we could have it be a part of that, where we create a pool that spits out an NFT if you stake a certain amount. And we could have there be a rewards paid to stakers. It's just the only thing that we can't do is penalties. And we could have the rewards be in any token, John. I opened it up. I was like, you know what, screw it, why not?
So why can't we do penalties? Because people are dumb. Is that basically the takeaway?
Yeah, not people are dumb, but that it's like
people are malicious. Some people would be malicious.
Yeah.
But not us, right? Like we wouldn't be. So
exactly. So that what I'm proposing is that like the reason for us to have penalties is to deter people from seeing that Genuine Jack and Dimitri have put out this crazy fire hoodie, and that people who own 100, 250,000 higher get some like 45% off, something crazy, something like that. And buying 450,000 higher, buying a hoodie, and then just dumping the
agree.
In this situation, the penalties decrease over time, but it's kind of like a deterrent to the people who would do that. So maybe in the first day, it's like 50%, days 2 to 7, 25%, and then from there, it's like lower, lower, lower. So, in theory, if people want to do that and get the membership card and sell it, that's fine. But then the committed people benefit based on their side of their stake. So yeah, I really, in my mind, I was like, I really want people to be able to do what they want with their hire. So I don't want to stop people from selling hire if they need to. But I also want to protect what I was calling privilege offers for like businesses who want to reward people who are aligned.
What if what if there is no penalty, but you don't get the NFT until you've been staked for like 30 days or something like that? And then once you hit like the 60-day mark, you get a second NFT that so it's less about like there's some threshold, but it's more about like how long you've been kind of staked and committed determines the tier of access.
It's interesting.
I like that idea.
It's not as powerful as the penalty, I feel like, because it doesn't reward the people that are still staked. And, I think it is also not rewarding the quantity of hire that you're staking in a simple way. It is nice. It is nice, though. It's a workaround if we really can't do the penalty aspect. But the penalty just seems so attractive. It's like with the punk strategy token, right? Like there's a 99% penalty if you sell in the first, 10 minutes, and people are fucking buying, and maybe some people probably got goofed by that for sure. But if there's a way that we can create some sort of UI that is a warning, is that enough? It's like, bam, you can't, red fucking triangle, you can't get this, yada, yada, yada. Maybe I'm overlooking it, but it seems worth to me still.
Yeah. No, definitely will get the funds flowing faster to the right people, right?
Wait, say that again?
Well, I was just remarking, like, I agree with you that, like, the penalty mechanism is, like, more powerful when it comes to, like, capital allocation or reallocation. So,
sure.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys have seen the Teller.
The 22% APY?
Where's the yield?
Where is that coming from? I saw it's like, I tried to read some article someone was thinking, I still didn't understand.
What is it? I've never heard of it.
Basically, actually come with it.
It's like a lending platform. So it's like, lend your hire, get USD, or borrow against hire, get USDC. It's like one of those sort of traditional DeFi primitive platforms. Primitive in the sense that like everybody uses those types of things, not not like stupid. And they're offering APY to basically like deposit your collateral in there so it can be used for loans. And so I'm assuming what they did is they have like maybe like a dozen tokens. I think they just bought a bunch of those tokens with their VC money, and they're paying out of that sort of treasury APY to people who deposit. Is the sense that I'm getting.
Mm-hmm.
So it's definitely not infinite. It's like a campaign.
Yeah, the 22% doesn't last very long, I'm sure.
Well, I mean, also it's kind of like we should all, I don't know, you guys remember Celsius? The lending platform that blew up that was like promised 22% APY on assets. It was like run like a Ponzi scheme, and I think the founder is either in jail or like in court to go to jail, and it's like,
damn.
I think he's in jail.
Yeah, what's his name? Alex Mashinsky or whatever.
I think so. Anyways, risky.
One thing I like about like this higher membership card as well is it's not like you stake for APY as well. I think that's one of the things that in my mind is I like about it. You stake for this NFT, and only if there are people who exit early, then you might maybe, on account of that actually happening, receive a redistribution.
Yeah, and I think we do have a community that will stake regardless. You know, a lot of believers, I'll say, redacteds maybe, that will just stake. Like, I'd throw all my hire in the stake right now, you know. And there's, like we talked about, John, you know, it's like someone like Martin would probably stake his bag, you know, and those are percents of the token that are locked up, you know. It's interesting. It's a signal, as well as it's the cornerstone, ideally, for future projects to use that data, that information.
I think it's a stepping stone. Like in overall, the question is like, why are people holding high? And the same question would be, why would people stake? Yeah, maybe some people are staking on the speculation that other people are going to capitulate and they'll get some. But the main product here, I think, is the NFT that comes out of it. And given that we're taking no fee, in my mind, we would take no fees on this particular staking contract. All the redistributions would go based on proportions, and the NFT comes out and it's permissionless as well. It's kind of like just the next primitive for the higher community to go and build on. That would be the vision. Hopefully people will pick it up and adopt it. Say, yeah, this NFT actually is something that consensus-wise we think is people who are committed to higher. And the result, when I do my XYZ, I'm going to privilege the people who hold this tier or all people who hold an NFT that's going for this contract. It's quite ordinary in an interesting way. It's quite ordinary, like, idea. But it's, for me, it's exciting because people feel like, oh, you know, there is actually something that I can pick out people to actually support. So yeah, that's up. Then in my mind, the next phase is like, I'm sure maybe there are other things, or maybe problems that I'll think, oh, this needs a solution, or someone else will see and think, oh, that needs a solution. But the idea that then people can really start building businesses and real supporters
Mm-hmm. And it kind of kickstarts new possibilities for a HIGHER.ZIP partner program, you know, lays a little bit of that groundwork. I think it's a great idea. I think we should still penalize people for pulling out early.
And the open rewards thing that I'm talking about. I think back. Were any of you ever in the Punks Discord?
Mm-mm.
Well, I was in there for a little bit, and there's lots of interesting things about it. But one was the Punks chat itself was readable by anyone, but only people who held Punks could actually chat in there. And some people who got this role up as like friends of Punks, which was an interesting role. And the Punks became like this hub where people came for almost information. They were like, I'm going to go to the Punk Discord and I can just watch the chat. Like, I can't take part, but I can watch. And I guess people became friends because they were researchers, or they, had their finger on the pulse of what was happening at a different part of the ecosystem. And Punks they just gathered this reputation over a period of time that then landed them a lot of like allow lists, airdrops, different metas then look towards the Punks like, all right, we want these people involved. That I think has eroded somewhat over time when more and more people started buying Punks. So there was less of the initial energy that made up the people who claimed the Punks and bought Punks earlier. But there was having this open rewards part of the staking contract, I think, opens the door to people like looking at the higher community chat. It was like, oh, these are committed motherfuckers who are here most days doing stuff. Why not drop them some shekels from my new project because I want some attention.
Mm-hmm.
I love the idea of everyone going just to see a chat.
What did you say, Brian?
I just love the idea of people going to watch a chat. Like, it's like, it honestly, my mom used to tell me these stories about like when the television first came out in like her town in Colombia, people would used to like go to that one person's house and they would all watch the television there. And that's what that chat is reminding me of, honestly. It's like, oh, let's all go to this one place and gather around,
It's like a performance almost.
Yeah.
It's bizarre.
I mean, so many of the people in that chat were builders. That's the kind of crazy thing. So, like, real alpha did actually arise out of that chat. Like, Art Blocks, Snowthrow was in there talking about Art Blocks. Like, and then people who entered the first collections of Art Blocks, they're like rolling days, probably, if they did well. Those are different things. One of my favorite projects, Terraforms by Max, was one of the founders. He dropped the first links to his Discord for that project in each chat, kind of things like that.
Yeah, that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Would love to have that same effect, honestly, on the HIGHER.ZIP chat. Where it's like there's like maybe your first experience with it is like literally just viewing the chat and you're like, damn, I have things I want to say. And then that being the thing that tips you over to buying higher in the first place. Where it's like, I don't even know what the fuck crypto is, but like I need to have this token to participate in this chat and I want to participate in this chat.
Mm-hmm.
And then I don't know whether we would have two chats because another thing that was happening from Discord was like they had a chat where like people landed in a big chat, but most of the punk holders weren't really in there. They were in the punk chat, but anybody could see the chat. And I guess if you had streamers who were highest from the second job. It's kind of just similar conversations we have on like that's kind of where the value is.
Say that last part again.
What chat you look at is kind of where the value is. Like if we're running a HIGHER.ZIP stream and we're only really looking at the higher white card holders chat, then because that chat value, they also see that chat at the same time. Interesting.
Yeah. That adds a little complexity to me. I mean, on the surface, it sounds perfectly reasonable because even like in a live show, you have like at the very basic level, like general admission, but then you also have like, what is everyone in the green room talking about? Right? Like there's a kind of like a separate section for like more VIP people, I guess, you know, or people who have access to more, you know, intimate spaces within the same venue. So it does make sense to me from like, oh, what was that?
It's a real quick one. If we do make like an FT gate chat from the staking thing on podcast sale or Discord, whatever, it's got to be full green.
Yeah, right.
Green.
Green room, yeah. That would be sick, honestly. Higher green room, yeah.
It just makes sense.
Yeah.
I cut you off, Brian. Sorry.
No, I think all I was gonna say was like tying it back to the spectating aspect, where it's like if you're in the higher green room, then maybe you can see what everyone in GA is saying. But if you're in GA, you can't see. And I'm saying that in the context of them being part of the same thread. You know, maybe they're not like different rooms in terms of like I have to turn one off to turn one on type of aspect, but like it just looks different for each user.
Yeah, because there is a UI kind of hurdle there, right? As opposed to Discord, you have channels. But
Right.
if we just want to keep that chat simple, which I think makes sense.
Right. And we don't want to ask people to have two chats open.
No,
or I don't know, maybe we are all ADD like that, where that becomes the norm eventually. Where like, oh, your app only has one chat. What the fuck, dude?
Or you could kind of partition it in a way that only card holders chats make it to the streamer. Later, brother.
See you guys.
Yeah, like if you're in the green room, everybody sees the same chat, but the streamer only sees whoever's in the green room card holder for questions or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah. There's a feature list that. Yeah, maybe that should be like, and I don't know that we have to have it on the Thursday calls, but maybe that's the focus of another call we have is like, all right, here are all the features we've been thinking about. Which ones make sense for like V1, and then which one of the features that we release in V1 kind of builds the bridge to like the next set of feature that'll be V2. Right? Because like maybe V1 is like simply chat working, and then V2 is like, now we got to think about the staking aspect, and then V3 is like green room versus GA, and then like so on and so forth. And like what are basically work from like building a dream feature wish list of like what all the things that we want chat to have, and then kind of like creating an executable plan of like
working backwards, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's good you bring that up, because I've been thinking this past week about what differentiates us and what's meaningful about that, and why anybody that's not the 30 most active people on Farcaster Higher channel would ever come view, especially at the time we're in now with Pump streams,
right.
Pine Tree, Farcaster Native, and Zora Live. You know, it's like, what do we offer to streamers is maybe something that we need to be unpacking at a higher level, because we've sorted mostly, at least the general framework of what we offer the higher community, but convincing somebody to come stream on HZip over Zora Live, I don't know what the pitch is there. At Zora Live, you're getting your token bot like live on stream. You're seeing some sort of value feedback that's not just exposure.
Yeah, not to mention the what's it called, like the distribution from just, you get all of the people who are already on Zora a little push notification that you're going live, right?
Totally.
It's a lot of the same reason why people stream on YouTube versus Twitch versus blah blah, you know what I mean? Like,
and that's exactly right. But the thing is too, that's worth noting, is that, which has proved true in my opinion, from just the Zora model currently disregarding live, is that the only people that actually win are the top accounts. And by top, I mean top 10, maybe, not top 100. The liquidity, there's more liquidity with coins, doesn't hold any water if you're top 500, because you still can't sell. Yeah, you have 10 million of your coin, but you can't sell them. There's no liquidity, but so my point being is, I'm wondering if there's an angle we can, or there's an edge in focusing on smaller creators that don't benefit from the Zora model or don't have viewers on Pine Tree. What would our edge be in convincing them to come on our stream? And, obviously ideally it would be, oh, we have viewers, but we don't have viewers yet. Or what is that crypto native aspect that we can offer that makes it compelling, other than the fact that we're giving somebody a platform that has never had one?
right.
And that there's a lot to unpack there.
I mean, yeah, even on the level of like, how open do we want to be, right? Like,
right,
is there a world where we just open the floodgates and whoever wants to stream on HIGHER.ZIP can? Because then it's,
I don't think so,
yeah.
honestly. I think we need to separate ourselves from like a platform, a typical,
right.
No, we need to separate ourselves from social media.
Right.
I think is the angle,
Right.
because we can't compete with, like we talked about last week, we can't compete with YouTube. We can't even compete with Zora.
Right.
So we have to be individual in a way that's compelling. And I think that is the interesting part about this, is the curation aspect.
Yeah.
As opposed to like, anybody can post videos. We have 6,000 channels on HIGHER.ZIP. It's like, well, now you're just competing with Zora, who has 10 years of experience.
Right.
Without a real hedge, unless there's an angle there, but I haven't figured that out yet. It doesn't seem to be obvious.
And honestly, I don't think, obviously I think we're creative people and stuff, but I don't think that is a path worth exploring for the flip side, for like what that brings us. Like, I think at the end of the day, and maybe you guys agree with me or not, but like YouTube, Zora, Twitch, all of these, they're already doing that pretty well. And I don't think that there's anything that I personally can provide to the live streaming world that they aren't already doing.
Yeah. Outside of like, do Twitch, but crypto.
Right. Exactly.
And
exactly.
that's what Zora's doing.
Exactly.
So it's done. It's
exactly.
That void is filled.
Which kind of, I think, mirrors to what you were saying, which is like the nicheification is like the benefit and like the sword that we have that we can kind of like use to introduce these new methods of consuming a live stream,
Yes. Agreed. And it, there's a lot of angles there's a lot of strings that all meet in the center of success, I suppose, or viewership, or true amplification of the higher network, supporting creators legitimately, as well as driving attention. Is you want to be interesting, you want to be unique, you want to do something that Zora can't do, you want to do something that YouTube can't do. What that is, not exactly sure, and you want to be fun, I think.
Right.
And there's obviously other pillars there, but if we can be interesting, unique, and fun, maybe that's just enough. We don't have 100,000 viewers, no, but if we get to 1,000, that's fucking amazing. And then some functionality that actually adds value to, if we're not going to have 1 million viewers, why would the streamer come on? That's maybe where the token comes in, and the LP in some creative way, and the tipping from the chat, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah. Even from, not to make the idea even bigger, but like to the potential of like whatever features we have influencing the actual production of the show, right? Like someone may adapt or change the whole idea around what they had for their show based on like the fact that you could do XYZ with our chat, or you could do XYZ to airdrop certain holders. You know what I mean? They may think of a game show and it's just like a legacy game show, but then when they hear about the chat features, they're like, okay, cool, we want to do like a bonus round where they ask questions, and this is for the audience, and like, there's like an aspect of that as well that kind of happens inherently, I suppose. Maybe not inherently, but like,
or I love that. Something unique in that way. And maybe it's not monetary. Maybe
right.
It's like, okay, we have something interesting with the HZ missions, right? Like, and we can structure some sort of video stream, and it's like, hey, we've got this dope video, Cactus, S.G, etc., Will Diaz, all of these winners. We've created a video with this. Now, will you come DJ over these visuals? And like the streamer's up in the corner and the visuals are running, and that amplifies those creators more. The streamer has like maybe an interesting angle, which is fresh, as opposed to them just standing in front of the screen. Maybe something like that. It's maybe not exactly that, but playing to our strengths.
No, it's very appealing, honestly. Very appealing.
Because we can't pay streamers meaningful amounts right now to come on the scene, because one, we don't have the money. Two, all of the money should go to the higher network, and will. So we need to be compelling in a fun way, a creative way.
I do have to head out to PT soon, but one thing that honestly might spark yet another conversation, but one of the things that I guess we had talked about until this point is kind of like the programmability of the 168 hours of a week, and like certain shows coming on at certain time. And I think that if we're involved in like the production of it, I don't see any kind of like weak points around there. But if we're opening up to people who could stream, then there seems to be like we would need a system in which to enforce someone going on at 4 o'clock or something like that, right? Mm-hmm. Where it's like, okay, John, maybe you stream at 4 o'clock, but like, what if you don't? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. What if we had agreed for you to do that, and then something happens and you can't live stream, or you just don't live stream? I wonder if we're programmatically approaching that aspect of like filling the 168 hours. Like, I guess my mind immediately goes to like the staking thing, right? Which is like, stake these things as a promise that you're going to go live around 4 o'clock Eastern. if the person does not go live, then that goes into the perma pool maybe or something. And then if they do go live, then they have the ability to unstake. That like, allows the ability to unstake.
Yeah.
But there still, I guess, has to be a reward for the live stream as well, too, not just the ability to unstake. I mean, it probably requires a lot more thought process, but like,
yeah, I'm wondering if that's maybe too deep.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
I think to your point, we do have to agree upon what is that thing that's going to attract people?
Mm-hmm.
And then not only that, like, how can we manage that, even if at first it starts off manual, but then eventually gets programmatic, right? Like, because like right now we would be planning the 168 hours, but eventually we would have to get to a world where like we're not holding everyone's hand that wants to live stream.
Yeah, it's true. And I think, ideally the solution to that is creating an environment where this individual really wants to be there. And, obviously that's romantic, but, like if you're going on Joe Rogan, you're not gonna be late. But we don't have that. So I get your point. I don't know if I have any sort of comments on the logistics there, to be honest.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, especially with the live stream aspect of it, it's like we can't force someone to hit the go live button at home, at their own home, or wherever they're live streaming from,
Nope.
But the other aspect is like if someone prepares a video, then yeah, we could air a video at a certain time, but that's a pre-recorded video. That's a whole different thing,
Yeah.
It's that kind of like connection between like, I guess, us, the producers, and like the showrunners that are going to be live streaming, right? Like even before this meeting, I have to like shut off one stream and then activate ours, and that, so essentially, and obviously I'm happy to do it now with other shows that may come on, because like, there's little to no shows that we have to do that for. But when we start getting in the realms of like 10 shows a week or something like that, then it does add kind of like a need or want to like programmatically do that. Because even if someone doesn't live stream at 4 o'clock when they were supposed to, then sure, it looks bad on us, but I can easily just trigger the ambient video and just be like, okay, well, there's now video playing on the stream, it doesn't leave us with any gaps that way.
Right. To your point, if you have 168 hours full, it turns into a full-time job.
Right.
7 days a week, 24/7.
Right.
That's like, what is that? 3 full-time jobs?
Yeah.
4.
Job stacking. Everyone did that during COVID, I think. Or not
That's
everyone,
job
but
security. That's just job security, Brian. You're right, though. I mean,
kind of want to build like a bespoke platform that only certain people that want to say can stream crypto offers as that. Let's say, I guess, you've got to log in and then you can stream. And then we can also pull commissions from certain accounts after maybe they're only scheduled for one stream. But what we're basically pointing towards is like having some kind of setup that, as Brian says, basically can all handle itself without a human having to be there, which feels like it's an important thing to build out. Yeah.
Well, and really though,
it's like twofold. One is like being able to schedule pre-records when things come on, as well as getting live views, enabling live to go live.
Yeah, I think programmatically, I wonder if you could. Maybe it's contingent on the fact that what we're showing between streams is good. like good content, right? So it's like that will just play until that person hits live. And if they don't hit live, that just keeps playing. And obviously it sucks ass for anybody that's tuned in, but at least there's no gap in starting soon, for an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you kind of would, it's like 100 and it's almost like in the back, your background layer is the 168 hours or however many hours we have to do. And then the layer on top is either a live show or some kind of recorded video that's being played live. So you have a live layer and like a always on layer. And then maybe it's like access to the live layer is given and taken away.
Yeah. And to your point, Brian, obviously there's more technical nuance than what we have just described. I'm sure.
Whenever I say the word programmatically, I'm like,
Well, no, I think that it's kind of similar to the chat talk we're having. Is like we have to, I guess maybe it's another meeting. Sorry to be adding meetings here, but like maybe it's talking about like what onboarding an external streamer would look like. Like what does that look like? Because right now we have a system amongst ourselves that obviously works, but like if Higher FM said today, like, hey, I want to take the 8 p.m. slot, like how could we essentially like productize that moment so it's a smooth process for the Higher FM people, but as well as us? And like what kind of tools programmatically we can create to kind of like facilitate that process? Because right now it's very hands-on and like manual.
Yeah, totally. It's a great point. I think we should just do it. I think maybe let's just set up a stream. I'll reach out. I bet Cactus would do a stream. Chatra would probably DJ. Sheik would probably DJ.
That's sick. Yeah, we should do that.
Let's fucking do it. And maybe we can set it up in a way where like we've got 3 in one day. So like time zones probably work out in that way. Like Sheik's in Utah, Chadra's in Indonesia.
Oh yeah.
So it's like we can start to figure it out that way. What do the kids call that? Dog fooding.
Yeah.
Dog food.
The tech boys.
The tech boys.
It is called.
But you're right. It probably will prove to be difficult.
Yeah.
It will. And then another call we have to have is discussing how we want to start displaying or broadcasting the media that we receive from these missions. Which reminds me that I wanted to talk about the betterment stuff. I know you got to hop off, Brian.
I got to hop off too, I think.
Okay.
But it sounds like this next week we should probably
have all these meetings. Yeah.
Well, maybe we can structure things a little bit more regimented to where we don't blow an hour on, even though it's always good.
Yeah.
It's not blowing an hour, it's using an hour. But yeah, there are a lot of things to talk about, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, then I think
I'm wondering if we should make channels in Telegram and start like talking, having subjects that.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. That could
be
good
cool. Idea.
Like channels within the same chat, right? Oh yeah, that could be cool.
It's a great idea.
What was the thing you just said, Colfax? Sorry, I wanted to write it down. We have a meeting about what are we gonna do with the missions media?
How we're gonna platform and broadcast those missions, creations.
Okay.
And then John, do you have any time or no?
Yeah, I have like maybe 8 minutes until they kick me out. Yeah.
Okay.
Hey guys, I feel a bit bad he's speaking around, but I think it's okay. There's other people here too.
Well, it's okay. Get out of here. It's late over there, bro. Go get dinner.
Yeah, but what I should say, if this is still being listening, is the better thing that Colfax and Toady have already been chatting about this, but Colfax and me had a meeting, and that's just exciting. In a cool way that hopefully it feels positive.
Positive sum. Yes, the HZ missions, at least HZ 002, and ideally 3, should reward the winners in a much more dramatically positive way. So that's super exciting. But on that note, we can touch on that a little bit later, or maybe I'll post it in the higher channel, just to kind of kick
I
off
have
some.
time later today, probably, if you want to chat Colfax. Just
Okay. I might as well. Just let me know.
Same
Cool.
here. I also have time later today as well, and tomorrow as well. If you guys want to have any of those other chats.
Tomorrow is great for me. Later today is maybe.
Cool.
All right, gentlemen.
guys.
Anyone that's tuned in, thank you very much. You're fucking awesome. We love you. Higher bitch.
Let's go.